What's up, YouTube? How's everybody doing today? Just decided to make a little video while I'm doing this little airbox mod to my car. Hello, beautiful Lexus 350. So, for you guys who have your covers on there, you might want to take all those off first. The covers that are all over here and all that, I don't use mine because I like to have easy access to my engine. I take all my covers off and just throw them away. Makes it easier to work on when you got to work on the car. So take off your top intake first. Not intake, take your top cover off and then your side covers. And then you get down to your intake tube. You only have two 10s holding this on. One here, and then there's one here. I already took it off, but there's one here too. Take those off, then you have your tube here. If you still have this open, I have mine closed off, just getting fresh air. And then you have your little, what do you call it? This is a little muffler thing here. That doesn't need to be taken off, it's part of the intake anyway. But I just capped mine off to make the sound a little louder. And that's it. Two 10s and your hose here, and that's it, and it comes off. Take that off and bring it to the lab. Now, when you have this here, what you're trying to do is get rid of the ridges inside of here. I don't know if you can see that. See the ridges in there? And then see how it's straight all the way the rest of the way? Let me get... Yeah, see the ridges in there? And then see how it's straight all the way back. You want to get rid of these ridges part so you can get a straight, smooth airflow. That's what we're trying to do here. So you just cut this half off and then put a straight piece in there to get rid of those ridges. You only want to cut back to, see this first line right here? The second line, cut right there at that second line. That's where you want to cut back to. And then cut the rest off, cut in there. Now to cut it, you can use whatever you want, a Dremel, Sawzall, whatever. I have one of these. And this cuts through metal and wood and plastic and whatever. Plastic with ease, but you know. You could even use the old school, you know, hand saw if that's all you have. It's gonna take a little longer, but it works. So I'm going to use my electric one to get it done quicker. And all you're going to need is one of these 6-inch tubes, 3-inch diameter. You can get these from O'Reilly, AutoZone, eBay, whatever. I got mine from AutoZone. It was like, what, 15 bucks, 16 bucks, something like that. Just looks like this. And then you're going to need a coupling on the end to put on the end of it. That goes to your air box. And the other end goes into the tube. And you're going to reuse your clamp that goes on the end of the tube. You're going to reuse this. So, let's get started. Remember, like I said, the second line, not the first line right here, the second line. Not the first line. You want to cut to the second line. And that's that. So you take your tube it's a little hard to get in there. It takes a little bit of wiggling. But that's what you wanted. You want it to be tight so it doesn't leak air anyway. That's what you want. Now it's all straight and smooth in there. So next you want to do is take your clamp from the factory clamp. Nice and tight. That's all you want it to be. No leaks. Then take your other end, which is probably an 8mm. So let me grab an 8mm and I'll be back. So yeah, this is an 8mm. You want to loosen these up. Get that in there until it stops against the little black piece in there. Well, you want it about halfway so you can get half on the, what do you call it, on the air box too. And this is the way it goes on the car. So you want to have your screws facing up so you can access them easily. And you take your other one and we're going to the car now. Okay, we're back on the car. Everything's back on. It's the same way you took it off, so you don't need to know all that. You do you slide this end on first, because this end gives you a little play. This box moves around a little bit. Slide this end on first, and then slide your upper end on second. Now, this tube, you might have to play around with it going in and out until you get it to be enough to where it'll, give enough clearance to clear this. Because I had mine out too far at first. It was too far, so I couldn't. It was like way over here. It was like way up here, and then I couldn't get it on the throttle body. So I had to push the black tube in more, and then I was able to get it on here. Now, you want to go ahead and remove that little black piece I was talking about earlier. This little black piece that goes inside of here, that comes in here, go ahead and remove that. Because it's going to be in the way. So just remove that, and then slide it on this end, slide it on that end, and then tighten down your clamps. Tighten down your clamps, make sure they're all tight. Now on this factory clamp here, all you want to make sure is that inside ring is tight. This outside ring is going to be a little loose. That doesn't really matter. This thing is already snug on here anyway, so it's not really going to let any air in. And then you have this extra inside ring here, the metal ring, keeping it tight. So that's all that matters. This loose outside one, like I say, is going to be a little loose, so don't even worry about that. As long as that inside one's tight. Tighten that. Make sure you put your hose back on if you have one, or you can just get an open one, because that will still that'll cut down on that oil getting inside your intake and all that. That blowback for your PCV system and all that. You don't really want that back in there anyway. You just want fresh air going into there. And of course, change your PCV filter too. So once you get all that together, make sure everything's good. Make sure it's all tight, because you don't want any air leaks or any, system 2 lean codes or nothing like that. Make sure you have all your air leaks and vacuum lines hooked up, and then you'll be good to go. I'm going to do an exhaust video next. Let me see if this thing adds any sound to it. I might go ahead and do the little air box mod and cut a little hole in the box like people are doing for the F-Sport intakes and all that. You can buy one of those too. That'll help with this whole thing, If you want to get the F-Sport box with the hole right there and a K&N filter, that'll help you a little more, I don't think this really adds any horsepower or anything, but it does sound good. So if you want a little more sound, you might get 1 horsepower off of this, but, It's not a horsepower thing. It's just a sound and looks thing, you know. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna do an exhaust video next, and then I'll post that. So if you want to see about that, just, you know, subscribe to the channel. You can, you'll see it when it comes up. But until then, peace.